All right. My name is Anthony Wallace. I am the co-host here. I'm the founder of 92 Dream, which is an e-commerce conversion rate optimization agency, and I'm the editor of Stupid Simple e-commerce blog. So you can check me out in LinkedIn. You can go and check me out on my website. I also just accepted a new role at Prayella, which I'm the CRO manager there, and so there's a lot of big things happening there. So yeah, how's it going?
All right. And I'm your other co-host, Deborah O'Malley. I'm a top A/B testing influencer, recognized as a leading women CRO specialist. And I founded the go-to A/B test case study site, Guess the Test, which is the inspiration for our game show today. So I'm super excited to have you all here today. And we have three amazing CRO contestants.
Yes, we have Johnny Longden from Journey Further. Hopefully I pronounced your last name right. We have Ryan Levander from Red Navel Consulting. And we also have Shawn David from Automate to Win. These are our contestants today.
Woo, and they are the top-notch CRO and automation specialists in the industry. So feel very privileged to have them here today. Guys, thanks so much for joining. It's appreciated, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun.
All right. Here are the rules of the game, everyone. We have 3 rounds where contestants will get each variation of the A/B test, right? So each round will have different time limits, and there will be a different point total, right? So round 1, 5 points, 20 seconds to choose. Round 2, 8 points, 20 seconds to choose. And then round 3, 12 points, only 10 seconds to choose. It gets a little bit difficult as we move on. So those are the rules of the game. The winner will move on to the next episode. So if they're available, we will have the next winner on the next on our next game show, which will be in another month. All right.
All right. So today's topic is the most surprising tests of all time. Now, these are tests that historically on Guess the Test, the experts that have guessed on the test have not been able to guess correctly. So we're going to see if you, our audience, as well as our 3 amazing serial contestants can correctly guess the test. But these are super surprising tests, and they're going to boggle your mind because they're not necessarily intuitive. So contestants, what do you think? Are you going to be able to correctly guess the winning tests?
Probably. Absolutely not.
Well,
I just said I'll do best with the last time because I'm going to overthink the first ones, I'm sure. So, yeah.
And that's exactly it. Should you go with your gut or should you not go with your gut? I don't know. We're going to have to see. So our first test is which form design won? Now, hopefully you haven't seen this test before and you don't know the answer. It's a really interesting test, and the test looks at, sorry, one sec here. Should you use flat, open form fields like this, or should you use closed form fields like this? Now, I would love to hear from Alan in our audience, Alan Lucas. If you want to chime in either in the chat or put on your microphone, I would love to hear your thoughts and rationale before we get our contestants to guess, because if you don't know Alan, he's a leader in form and he works for Zuko, the form optimization and analytics company, and he is all about forms. So Alan, if you want to say something in the chat about what you think would win with this test, we'd love to hear your input. But
sorry, can you hear me now?
We can, yes.
Yes.
Hello.
It'd be easier than chatting. Okay, well, my opinion, I've not actually seen this execution on the left really before, but my general thoughts are you don't mess with things that people are used to. And so if we're just looking at the box sizes, I would expect that version B would perform better.
Okay, so
that's
we have one vote for version B from an expert in the field.
Yeah, now I put myself yeah,
expert opinion.
Embarrassing.
Okay, well, thank you for your input, Ellen. And other people, Linda, I know you run a lot of tests. If you want to type it in the chat, or Sebastian, if you want to type your answer in the chat, we want to hear what you think as well. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit more details here. In terms of the KPI, what they were looking for, I should tell you, first of all, this was from Optimizely, the premier A/B testing platform. They actually ran this test on their own site, for their own site, and the goal was to get people to sign up for the ebook. So they wanted more form completions, more people signing up for the ebook. They wanted to get, more people signing up. The traffic was any experimenter, people like you and I who are interested in the ebook, and it was for Optimizely. Now, as I mentioned, only 33% of the people guessed the right test. And we want to know, contestants, are you going to buck the trend and be better than the 33% or not? Here is the test versions again. So version A, flat open fields. Version B, closed rounded fields. Now, I'm not going to tell you this, but I'm going to give you a hint. There is something with this form that sort of, changes things. It's not just about the form fields if you look very closely. So that's the hint. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but there you go. So our audience, we have version A from Sebastian. We have Linda saying version A looks like the better bet, but she's a little unsure. We have Jen Williams saying version A. So Johnny, you are going to be our very first contestant. And Anthony, if you can cue up the music if we have some. What version do you think won?
So I'll just type this in, first before I talk about it.
Okay.
Lock it in.
Yeah.
All right. So I now have Johnny's answer. He has submitted it to me, so he's not able to change his answer. And Johnny, if you want to talk us through what your reasoning is.
Yeah, so I've chosen A. So I actually think B looks far better. I think it's easier and more intuitive to read and to see that there's places to input. But I've basically used the rationale that it's probably not the one that feels obvious. So that's why I chose A.
Okay. All right.
Because
so Johnny's going with A because it's counterintuitive and because we know only about 33% of people actually got this test right. Okay,
Yeah.
So Johnny, your vote is locked in for A. Ryan, we're going to go to you now. Which version do you choose? If you want to type it in the chat to me so that you can't change your answer. It's locked in.
You should have that already. I did
Okay,
that. Just let me
perfect.
know. Yeah. Okay, I can talk about it if you have that.
Okay.
Okay, so I was thinking version B. I kind of agree with Johnny's mindset of it's potentially counterintuitive, but if version B is right and I pick version A, then I'd be upset with myself because it is much more logical. I think it would be more friction because as soon as you start typing in the fields in version A, the placeholder name is going to go away. Not that there's complex field names there per se, they're pretty basic fields, but you may kind of forget what you're typing in and then you have to delete and see it again and click away. So probably a lot more clicks than necessary, and it just the fact that kind of the clarity aspect of version B just seems a lot more simple, and so I would hope that would have more conversions. At the end, Deborah, you said like there's something else, and so I was like looking at the privacy policy and I'm like, oh, the submit button's on the left on version A and the right on version B, but I'm like, I don't think that would make any difference, so I'll say version B.
Okay, excellent. Well, good rationale, Ryan. And so we have an opposing vote already. So Johnny is version A, Ryan is version B. Shawn, you have to choose one of them. You have a 50-50 chance.
Yeah, no,
What are you going to go with?
I chose A for the main reason because of what Alton said, and he said that he'd never seen this before, and I looked at who this was targeting, and this is targeting folks like you guys. So you guys are going to be like, wait, why is this like this? So I think you're gonna look at this thing and just be like, this isn't normal, and it's just gonna cause something in your little optimizer brains that's just gonna be like, I have to, what is this? And you're gonna click on it and you're gonna be like, the submit button's on the left, it should be on the right, this is horrible. But maybe it's horrible intentionally because it's built for you and it's not built for me. If it was built for me, that right one makes a lot of sense because I just want to form. But if it's built for your little tinkerer brains, then this makes sense.
Okay. Now, Shawn, I like that rationale, but I do have to ask you a question. Major form companies, and Elena, I know you can back this up, like Typeform, for example, use this format.
Yeah, but what they do is they do the thing which is pretty dope. Is it's like when you click on it, it gets small and goes up. So it really is the same thing. It's just it's the presentation of the really the submit button is the thing that threw my brain, because I think anyone that's going to look at this and does forms and knows forms is going to look at that and be like, there's just something wrong, and it's going to make you feel uneasy. Anything that makes you feel uneasy, you're either going to leave or you're going to interact with. So that gives you like an emotional connection to something just because you look at this and you're like, every other form I've ever seen, the submit button's on the right and this is on the left. Like, what is going on? Yeah, and that also may completely tank it and make nobody fill it out because they don't even know there's a submit button. So I don't know. Again, I don't know. I'm just
All right. Okay. And I'm just scanning through a lot of the audience. Gabriela says A. Amanda says A with an exclamation mark. She's pretty certain about this. Jan Williams says A. So it's looking from the audience pretty much consistently like A. Do any of you want to change your answer based on that or based on the rationale that our amazing expert CROs have presented? Or are you going to stick with your answer?
that's not fair. Statistically, you have to change your answer if you're given the opportunity to change it. Like, come on now.
Or any of you in the audience, do you want to change your answer now that you've heard the rationales from our expert CRO contestants? Dan is saying inconclusive.
I heard people change, account for it, right?
All right.
Yeah.
So you're all going to keep your answers? You're confident
Yeah.
with your answers? Okay. Gabrielle is saying, we want points. We want points. Anthony, can you cue up the music? We are going to reveal the big reveal here.
Let's reveal it.
Dun, dun, dun. And the answer is version A. So congratulations to everyone who guessed version A. Well done. So simply changing the form from closed fields to open fields, but there is a little bit of a trick, which we're going to go through in a second, caused a 6.4% lift in form completions at 97%
lift.
statistical significance. Now, this is a high-powered sample, 374,000 visitors per variant. So I would say from a trustworthy test standpoint, this is pretty trustworthy. We can test it. But this is sort of what I would call a test with acne, in that it's not just one element that was tested. We're not just looking at the format itself. Something really important that also changed was the placement of the submit button. And personally, I think based on the eye tracking research that I've done and the way that users tend to fill forms, having the submit button here in line with the form where users tend to expect the form was a big deal and probably a big optimization improvement. Whereas here you fill out the form and you may kind of go looking for the submit button a little bit. So it's not as well optimized in this version. So
it's strange to think someone would fill out a form and then not be able to find the submit button. I mean, I would have thought it wouldn't matter where you put it, because there's no way you're going to fill out a form and then go, oh, I can't see the. I'll just abandon this now because I can't see it. Like
I don't
without
see that.
just moving my eyes a tiny little bit.
For sure. But if we look at eye tracking research, and I'm going to pull up the F-shaped pattern image that probably many of you are familiar with. Now, this F-shaped pattern, it's been debated, and it does depend on reading behaviors and that kind of thing. But basically what it shows is that people tend to read in a F-shaped pattern from left to right. They scan down, they scan across, they go like this. And this is the way that our eyes take in information for the most part. It does depend on task and it does depend on the way that your website is formatted. But if we cater to this reading behavior and put the button here in the left, then that's where the eye naturally expects it, and that's where our eye goes. Now, that's not to say somebody wouldn't be able to find this button on the right here, but they may hesitate just for a few more seconds or milliseconds, and that may cause a little bit of confusion. And as we know, confused visitors don't convert at least as well. So I think moving the button was a big deal. Johnny, you may disagree.
I actually think Shawn's rationale is probably quite valid, actually, because potentially people go, what is that, a form fill? Can you type into it? And then they click on it. And then once you've started, you might as well finish.
Yeah, you're on
whereas like with the other one, you might just go, I can't be bothered to do that now.
Oh, that's a form. I'm good.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think the critical thing here to it's not this. It's like to think this form sure, the form matters, but the thing that matters is this is targeted to people like you guys. Like this is targeted to tinkerers. This is, if you did this on a regular ass group of people, I don't think you're having the same result. It's like, this is different intentionally because it will trigger something in your brain because you guys all look at this and say, hey, that's different. And it just immediately, it just stands out. It's just not another form. But I think if this was on just like a regular website, you know, like if this was for whatever goju berries or something, I don't know if you're getting that same type of thing, you know what I mean?
Right.
But that's why you test, right?
For sure. Linda's saying she'd love to see this retested without the pill-shaped fields. Linda, can you explain that a little bit more? You're welcome to hop on the chat or go on voice and tell us what you're thinking. What I would love to see is this retested with as an MBT. So we set up multivariants and we say form fields, one variable, submit button placement, another variable. What is actually causing the lift here and what's making the difference?
Yeah.
What can we take away from this? I think there's some general principles that we can take away. And one, and I know Ellen is definitely going to support this, test the effect of optimizing your forms. Something as simple as an open versus closed field may make a huge difference for you. And it's so easy to test. It's super easy to set up. It should be on your site. So small changes can really make a difference. I believe where the CTA button was placed had a key impact. And so ideally we want to separate out these variables so that we know them in the future. And it may just be, as Shawn's kind of alluding to, that a flat open field, it kind of makes your brain go, huh, what's going on? But it does look more modern. It may render better on mobile. And possibly it could be the preferred style, but definitely test it. I would say a type form, they use the style, they should test it, everybody should test it. And it's something anyone can do, any optimizer can look at and take this idea as design inspiration. So go forth and test.
I do like Shawn's point of the context of the audience, so I think that does make a big difference.
Sure. Who's filling out the form? Like that's all that really matters.
Absolutely.
Who's the person on the other side of this thing looking at this thing? If it's if it's a tinkerer, give them something to tinker, and then now they're on the yes tree. And once you're on the yes tree, you're like, I already did it. I've already put this thing in here. I might as well just submit. I would really love to, Johnny's point on this, that just I would love to see how many blank submits were clicked. Like that would be an amazing metrics to see. Like how many of these things were submitted, and then you're like, oh, that's cool. That's something I never saw before.
Great ideas.
We have our current point total. We have Johnny Longden with 5 points. Ryan, he's not on the board yet, but he's coming. And then we have Shawn with 5 points as well. So we have our first point total here, guys. So let's keep moving on throughout the next test and see who's actually going to win.
All right. So we have a tie right now, but that is certain to change with this next test where Shawn excels in AI generated content. Human or AI generated content, which version actually wins? So we've heard so much hubbub about ChatGPT and Bard and all the different AI platforms out there that can generate copy for us, that can create the best version, but can they really is the question, or do humans still have the Midas touch? So here we have version A. It says a truck buying experience you'll actually enjoy, say over 1,000 5-star Google reviewers. The text is a little bit smaller because there's so much more text. This version was generated by humans. It was handwritten by humans. And version B here, we have similar background, exact same graphic, but the text has been updated. It says Kreutz Automotive is your family dealer. So I want to know from you, which version do you think won? An audience, go ahead and put your answers in the chat. I'll give you a little bit of background on this test. The KPI was engagement, leading deeper into the funnel. So just for some context, this was the hero section on the homepage. This is the first thing visitors saw. And what they wanted to see was people interacting with the nav menu, searching, going deeper into the funnel. The test goal was to increase engagement and subsequent conversions, and it was all traffic. So anyone who was interested in finding a car or an automobile from Kreutz Automotive would be coming here. So it's not just targeted at experimenters, the audience is everyone. And as I mentioned, Kreutz Automotive, which is a family-owned and operated vehicle and sales repair store in the States. Now, only 30% of people guessed the right test. So even fewer than last time. And that means you have a 70% chance of getting it wrong, contestants. Now I see we have some audience members have voted a little bit. Shawn is saying he hates the font. I don't like it either, but here it is. I kind of think version A looks really ugly and really crowded and hard to read, and version B is a little bit easier to read, but you know, I don't know. Does the copy perform better? I don't know. What do you all think? So before we get the contestants to guess, I'd love to have your input. Linda is saying AI types with periods, I see. Yes, I guess so. Maybe they added that in after, but Gabrielle is saying version A and her parents would respond better to version A. So that's interesting. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Villainless, Amanda, David, Kiki, Sebastian, tell us what you think in the chat. Version A or version B. And Ryan, we're going to go with you first. So go ahead and lock in your answer. Ryan has locked in his answer and tell us your rationale.
All right, I'm going to stick with try to remove myself from too much second order thinking, which usually gets me into trouble. So I think it's got to be version B for multiple reasons. One, I can read it. It's a sans serif font. And it's not hard on my eyes. It isn't really saying a whole lot. It's kind of just we're a family dealer, which is probably already implied with kind of the imagery and probably just the fact that you're wanting to buy a car locally, probably as an audience member. So it doesn't say much, but the fact that I can read it and that it's big is probably going to help me scroll a little bit more and take the next step. Whereas with the first one, it's saying more, like it's implementing some social proof, over 1,000 5-star reviews. Usually you'd want to show stars or something like that, or as opposed to just saying it. And again, in multiple lines of text and in text you can't read. I'm sure there's some other things to think about with this, but that's kind of my rationale of not getting too deep into the weeds, because most people, having worked with car dealerships in the past, I know they have a ton of mobile traffic as well too, as there's multiple times people are coming to look for inventory and things like that. So they're probably not going to be reading multiple lines and squinting and things like that. So version B is my answer.
Version B, more decipherable, a little clearer, kind of packs a bit more of a punch. Amanda is agreeing with you. She's saying it motivates her more to convert. It feels more family oriented. Personally, I really like that it has the word your in there. You and your are very powerful pronouns that kind of engage you and motivate you. But as you said, version A has that social proof. It maybe is a bit harder to read, but social proof we know really packs the punch and can really motivate uncertain visitors, especially when it's presented in the hero section where people are kind of tentative when they first arrive on the site. So we're kind of weighing the options here. Shawn, what do you think? You are the AI automation expert. Version A or version B?
Oh, I locked in A as soon as I saw this. Simply because B answers the question that you're asking. And if your metrics are to continue to answer, then why would you continue to do anything from B? If my question is, what are you? B is already answered. So AI wants to answer the question as efficiently as possible. A website like this doesn't. So you're saying B wants you to convert. Fine. What are you converting for? Automotive family dealer. All right, am I going to click on the lady because that's the picture of the lady? What am I doing now? What am I here for? I'm here because I'm looking for an automotive person, right? So my brain goes to, as soon as I read this convoluted craziness which says a truck buying experience you'll actually enjoy, that should be in quotes, it's not, but whatever, say over 1,000 5-star Google reviews, immediately my brain says, okay, bullshit, where are those reviews? That means I'm going to search for these reviews. So if the metric is to get people to stay on the site, mention something that they're going to immediately call bullshit on. So they're going to go to try to find it. So they're going to scroll down. And if your 5-star reviews are directly under the fold, then now you have scroll depth. If they're on a different page, you have page thing. So if you're measuring, can I manipulate people to stay on this page? Send something like superlative and crazy, like I'm the best dealer on the planet. You know what I mean? And then you make them immediately say, no, you're not. And then that makes them search. Or they say, you know what, I am a good client like you, and I'm just a trustworthy person, and I don't think you would lie on the internet, so I'm gonna just believe that. And then if that is the case, I'm going to go search more because now I think you're awesome because you have 1,000 5-star reviews. So I think it's A because B makes more sense and humans are weird.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's definitely a good rationale. I love the idea that humans are weird. Shawn and I, we both identify as robots, I think. So
Yeah, I
in the
mean,
same camp there. Now, Amanda is, I see her waffling a little bit. She went with the version B first. She said it feels more family oriented, but then she sort of jumped on your bandwagon, Shawn, and she said, well, A is a little bit harder to read, and that actually kind of makes you have to stop and read it. It makes you, if we think about system 1 and system 2 processing, it goes to system 2, you have to cognitively process it to take it in and to read it. So it's getting your attention more. And I think exactly what you were saying, it makes you stop, it makes you consider, and makes you kind of go, okay, well, what am I here to do that isn't answered in the initial headline? So interesting approach. Now, Ryan, you are going to be potentially the tiebreaker here. You have to choose one or the other, version A or version B. Lock in your answer and tell us what you think.
Ryan went first. It's Johnny.
Yeah, me.
Johnny.
Oh, I'm sorry, Johnny.
All good.
Sorry.
Johnny, you're up next.
Yeah, I've done it. A.
Okay, and
Yeah.
why A?
I'm actually not confident about that at all, but I'm going to go with it. I've got all sorts of stuff going on in my head here. So, A definitely and instantly looks awful, which makes me think that most people would guess B,
Okay.
which then makes me think from the same counterintuitive reasons it's probably A. However, I think also a lot of people would probably naturally assume that AI was not as good as human generated, so they might do that. But yeah, in terms of the actual thing itself, like I echo some of the other comments that whilst it's hard to read, it makes you read it and you go like, hang on, what does that say? And then you're actually reading social proof. And a truck buying experience you'll actually enjoy says more than a family dealer. It's like, so what? Like all sorts of businesses are family dealers, but it just sort of slightly says more, I guess. So, yeah.
Okay.
I think
So
that's right.
version A.
I'm not particularly confident in that, but yeah, I'll go with that.
I think you're kind of going to where Shawn was going as well with it just provides a little bit more context. Version B answers the what we do question, but it doesn't answer, why you're here, what you're going to get out of being here on the site.
Yeah.
So it provides a bit more context.
And that's not like the social proof thing is more than just the social proof. It's legitimacy and credibility because there is 1,000 of them. So it sort of demonstrates the popularity of the business.
Mm-hmm.
Or there isn't. Or there isn't. And that is just as important.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or there isn't 1,000 5-star Google reviews. And that is just as important because now you've engaged them to prove that there isn't. And yeah, that's a negative way of looking at it, but you've engaged them and they're on the website and they're looking for it. So like you can look at it either way. Somebody comes from positivity and want that to be proof, or somebody that's like, no, there's not. I'm gonna go improve. You know what I mean? Like Nancy drew it. Who cares what the reason is? They're there and they're looking for it.
All right.
The other reason that I'm not particularly confident is that I kind of think that like the AI, whatever AI tool it was that's doing that.
It was ChatGPT. It was an early version of ChatGPT. It was version 2, I believe, before it hit mainstream.
I was kind of thinking in my head that it was like one of those tools that is constantly trying to testing. In which case, I would have thought like maybe it is actually learning from other content and potentially it actually sort of knows.
Right.
But anyway, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's an important distinguishing point because there definitely is A/B testing tools out there that are doing that.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. But this was sort of a one-off test. All right. So contestants, are you confident with your answers? This is your last chance to try and change if you want. If anyone has kind of groupthink you into a different answer. Johnny, you're going to stick with A?
Yeah.
Ryan?
I was actually curious, what is the success metric here? I should have asked that up front.
It was engagement with the rest of the site. So once visitors landing on the site, did they engage with the rest of the site? So engagement time.
I'll probably, it's such a convoluted like USP copy. I think it's so so many nuances. And so I think I will change my answer because it's not a successful thing. Like probably to Shawn's point of they're going to look for something or they're going to just, they're going to need more information because you're not at your, it's harder. You can't even read the text, etc. So I do think that this bad UX is going to cause them to reach further into the site. So I'll
right.
switch it to A. Yeah.
Okay, Gabriella is cheering you on, Ryan. She's saying you should have had faith in us, Ryan. Anthony, does he get a point deduction if he changes his answer?
No, come on.
No, he gets the 4 points. It's
The
actually
full point. Okay. All right. And audience, do you want to cast your vote if you haven't yet before we actually reveal what the answer is? Version A or version B? Do humans still got it, or is it all about the robots now? Linda's saying version B. Amanda's sticking with A. All right.
Right,
Okay,
here we go.
Anthony, cue up the music. We are going to do the big reveal. And it's version A! So well done. Well done. So humans, thank goodness, we still have the Midas touch. Sorry, Shawn. I know that's probably disappointing to you.
It's actually really
But-
I'm human first engineer, so I'm all about the humans. I use AI to make humans better, not replace them.
Right, there you go. A small lift, 1.9% and 96% statistically significance. The sample wasn't huge. It was only 26,000 visitors. So there may be some wiggle room in this result, but it does definitely sort of provide directional data to show us that the version, I really think it was the social proof that did it. And it, as you guys said, it's harder to read, but that actually does increase engagement. People naturally just have to stay on the site longer to read it, and then they get more curious as they read it. They're more invested in reading it. So thank goodness we don't have to worry too much yet, but what this shows is you absolutely positively should test your copy, especially in the hero section. It makes such a difference. And when I do audits for clients, I look at the heat mapping data, and always, always, always the hero section is the most attended to part. People don't tend to scroll much beyond the hero section. Social proof, as we mentioned, is super important, and it can nudge visitors. And so we want to think about all these things when we're testing copy. Thoughts or comments based on this result, contestants or audience?
The only thing I would say is I would love to see a 3-line versus a 2-line, regardless of what it says. Like figure out, say the same thing,
Right, but keep the font.
Just let's see, is it just because it's confusing as hell and like it's hard to read, so you spend the time, or is it because it says something different? Like that's
Right.
the one thing I would really love to see, because the metric is staying on the site. And if you're confused and staying on the site, A, does that matter? And B, is it just because your entry point was just confusion?
There's also
That's a great point.
other metrics that matter too, like how many people are going on this on mobile, right? And so that's one thing that I think about what this is like. Is it actually a better experience on mobile than it is on desktop, right? Because nowadays most people are coming in through mobile, and so maybe that version A actually reads a little bit better than version B on a mobile device, depending on how much traffic is coming in.
Yeah, good point. This was for desktop specifically, but it's a really good point. And Shawn, I love your point that, let's make the test really equal, a true A/B test, not one with acne where we have different fonts, different size fonts, because we know all those things can influence the way that users perceive things.
Yeah.
So great future test idea. All right, so our score, we have Johnny tied with Shawn at 13 and Ryan lagging behind a little bit, but there's still time to catch up because
Still
we
time.
have one more test, one more very surprising test. Contestants, are you ready?
All right, guys, this one is for 12 points. So let's try to make this one count.
Okay, so this is about shipping offers, and it's surprising. So keep that in mind when you guess your answer. So we are looking at which free shipping offer or shipping threshold won. So here we have a company, Spirit Hoods. They're an apparel retailer, and in this top bar right above their navigation, they have free shipping to the US on orders over $99. Exact same creative, exact same experience, exact same test, not a test with acne. The only thing they've changed here is they've added a 1 in front of the 99. So now the free shipping threshold is over $199. So audience, I want to hear from you. Version A or version B, what do you think? What is the optimal shipping threshold? Should you keep it low and just get somebody buying your product? Or should you bump it up and try and eke out more sales out of your customers so that they can get free shipping? Which is it going to be? And only 21% of people guessed the right test when this was on Guess the Test, which means you have an 80% chance of getting it wrong. So what do you think? All right, so Shawn, we're going to go with you first. I see you've locked in your answer. You're saying version B.
Yeah.
Tell us your rationale.
To me, there's only one. It just makes sense to me is the self-worth that people put into the buying this type of thing. So especially because handmade in Los Angeles, so it's a higher quality value. Immediately they say made in USA. They buy it because it's made in USA. So they'll immediately give you more money. Shipping is going to be more expensive. It's worldwide. So they're going to look at this and say, okay, if it's made in the US, it's shipping from the US. If it's shipping to Belgium, it's expensive as hell. If I buy 2 of them, one for me and one for my girlfriend, it makes sense. Also, you kind of gave it away because on the site now it's $2.99. So obviously if it's $2.99 currently, then $1.99 was too low. So
well, that may be true, but they may just be testing it as well.
Sure, but if they tested 99 and 199 and now they're testing 299, like to me, that's like an ipso facto situation. But again, maybe wrong. It's a guess. That's like my evaluation of this is if it's a $50 entry, that means that they have to buy 4 of them, 2 of them to get into your $99 threshold. So it's just add another one. But if you look at it and it's like there's $300 items on the thing, and then you're already hitting the threshold by buying 1 item. So if I have a $50 entry, but I have items that are like 10 times that, then I have a range where I'm like, oh, okay, I'll just add this to get free shipping, which is probably what their goal was, like cross sell to get into that threshold.
Okay. So Alan's agreeing with you. He's saying version B. Amanda's also agreeing with you, saying their products aren't cheap, and this just provides motivation to buy more and gives money to endangered animals.
Yeah.
Linda is saying we tested 75 against 150 and 151. So I bet she's agreeing with you as well. But Johnny, do you disagree with this? Do you think that, having a shipping threshold that high just puts off people and they say, forget it, I'm not willing to spend that much money for free shipping? What do you think?
Just sending it now. No, I think it's B.
Okay, so Johnny's locked in at B.
Mainly because I think most people would think that a lower price would be better, and that's what they would guess. So therefore, the fact that most people guessed it wrong would suggest that it was B. That's the way I'm approaching this, basically.
Okay, so you're going based on everyone guessed it wrong, therefore let's go with the more surprising counterintuitive answer.
Yeah. But yeah, just to agree with all that, like looking at the price of the products, it seems like there's a good chance you've got $150 thing in your basket, and so you might as well have another one for free shipping.
It's shipping's 30.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So that free shipping is going to motivate you. You're going to spend more just to get it.
Yeah, because if you're buying something for $150 and you've already get free shipping, what's the point in adding anything else? So it's not a motivation.
Okay, fair. And Ryan, go ahead and lock in your answer. And I want to know from you, are you going to buck the trend or not? It looks like no. So you're going with version B as well. Tell us your rationale.
Yeah, I agree with some of the similar things that have been said. It feels like it's that kind of social awareness. You're have that emotional tie. They're donating some money to endangered animals. You're probably going to be likely to spend more as a result. And honestly, if you're not going to go on Amazon and buy something for a price conscious buy and get it, in 2 days, you're probably going to be willing to spend more money on made in the USA, like Shawn said. And hopefully they have good recommendations. Once you put something in your cart, you're going to find something relevant, because it seems like they have a healthy amount of inventory. So it's not like they have 1 of 3 hoodies and that's it. It seems like they have, as you were scrolling, Deborah, quite a bit. So I think it would be pretty easy to find something to go with that hoodie or whatever you're buying. So I think it's version B.
Okay, so everyone's going with the version B. Audience, go ahead. Final chance to type in your answer, version A or version B. I see Sebastian saying he has to leave, but he wants the answer. So let's go ahead and fast forward to the answer. Anthony, if you want to cue up the suspenseful music. Dun, dun,
Get it going.
dun. And the answer is version B. So well done. Congratulations. You all correctly guessed the test. So Sebastian, there you have your answer, version B. In this case, having the higher shipping threshold was definitely the way to go. It led to a 5.6% lift in average order value and a 24% lift in revenue per visitor. So huge. I see I'm missing a little bracket at the end of my RPV there, but 90% statistical significance, so it could be a little bit higher, but it was based on a reasonably powered sample of about 40,000 visitors. So it was, I think, a pretty valid test, certainly provides directional data for us. And what it really shows is, I think, everything that you guys said already, which is that really it's important if you have an e-commerce store, it's an easy thing to do. Without changing your price, you can try testing different shipping thresholds and see what motivates people to buy more and where that sweet spot is for you. So in this case, everybody loves free shipping and they were motivated to get more because they got free shipping. But I think it's important to keep in mind as e-commerce marketers that free shipping does come at a cost, because we need to actually pay for the shipping ourselves if we're shipping things out. So determining what that threshold is really key, and finding that break-even point for yourself as the seller or your client and for the customer itself. Any thoughts or comments on this? Anything you would do to test it? We see now, and Shawn kind of cued into the answer, we see now that they've actually tested an even higher shipping threshold. So they're really pushing the boundaries here. And who knows what the limit is on this free shipping. If you raise your prices, people are probably going to be willing to pay even more for shipping, free shipping. Thoughts or comments?
The one thing I would say about this in the future for guess the test is don't pre-bias us, because immediately all three of us are thinking, I'm gonna pick what I don't think. Because you told us these are the ones that people don't guess, right?
Right.
So
Yeah, that makes it a bit obvious.
Right.
Leave that out. Don't tell anyone anything about it. Go in blind.
Fair.
Yeah.
Good point.
And also potentially don't choose surprising tests. Choose ones that have got maybe
more obvious.
50-50.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, make it hard. Make it hard to make the defendable position on either way.
Okay, that's fair. That's good points. See, I leave it to the optimizers to optimize the experience.
There you go.
Amazing. Okay, so we have 10 minutes left. I want to be respectful of everyone's time. We still have a tie, Johnny at 25 and Shawn at 25, and Ryan, you're just a little bit behind at 20, but you certainly have the opportunity to catch up. So we have a skill testing question for you to hopefully break the tie. Are you ready for a skill testing question?
Sure. I don't know what that means, but sure.
All right. So there's a lot of chat about statistics, about minimum detectable effect, which is the smallest conversion lift that you want to see. What is the ideal MDE, minimum detectable effect? Audience, if you want to put your answer, go ahead in the chat. And if any of you guys have seen my recent LinkedIn posts, that will help cue you. But we have a multiple choice. A, there's no ideal. It's based on sample size. B, the higher the better, the larger the effect. C, between 2 to 5% is realistic. Or D, between 25 to 55 is ideal because it's large. So what do you think is the ideal MDE? I see Johnny's locked in his answer.
And I'm going to just say, I know, Ryan, you're a little bit under the points. This is really mostly between Johnny and Shawn because they got to, they're tied up. And this is what's going to choose who the winner is. But yeah, you can still put in your answer. Let us know what you think.
Okay. And Gabriella has casted her vote, so go ahead, and Amanda has also casted her vote. So we're going to do this one a secret. We're not going to do any rationales, but I'd like you to lock in your answers. So we have Johnny's answer, and Shawn has locked in his, and
I'll just say beforehand, if I'm wrong, or if the answer I've given is not the one that you've got, I'm going to heavily disagree with you.
So yeah,
So-
Okay.
I as well
All right.
100% will
Okay. All right.
disagree with your definition
Okay.
of what an MDE is.
okay, well, we'll get Ronnie Kohavi on the line, and he'll battle it out. Ryan, it's up to you. The entire game is riding on your decision. And Ryan has cast his vote, but in a way that I'm not sure if I can you just put a letter
There.
so that we can
Yeah,
be concrete?
just-
Okay. So Ryan has now cast his vote. So interestingly, all three contestants have gone with the same answer,
The correct
which
answer?
is version A. Now, I'm not going to say yet if it's the correct answer or not. I will say it's the same answer. All three contestants have guessed version A. Amanda has guessed version C. Gabrielle has guessed version C. Any other contestants out there that want to take a gander and guess? And then we are going to reveal the final bonus skill testing question. Based on a decade of my learnings and a lot of corrections from stats guru Ronnie Kohabe, and a lot of rationale from him. All right, so Anthony, you can cue up the music. We have our final skill testing question is about to be revealed. So have the contestants all guessed right, or is the audience the winner? In this
Oh.
case, the oh no, we don't have the answer. Okay, the answer is version C. So audience, you have correctly guessed. Well done, Amanda. Well done. Who else was it? Gabriella. Contestants, version A is not the right answer. It's not based on sample size. Now, sample size is a very important component of it. But in order to get a properly powered test and a sample size that's realistic in order to detect an effect.
Realistic and ideal are two different words. Like I have a very big, like well, we're not going to get too pedantic on this.
Yeah.
Like science disagrees with that definition.
Yeah, so if you had 10 million users in each of the control and the variant, you wouldn't still choose 5% as an MDE.
Well,
Yeah.
then and
Or
these
2%.
are Ronnie's
Yeah.
teachings, not mine. So as I
Right.
said, you're going to have to argue with him.
Oh, we're not
He would
arguing.
say that based on tens of thousands of properly powered tests run at Microsoft and other organizations, large enterprise organizations that he's worked for, very, very few tests that were properly powered ever saw a conversion lift or an effect larger than 5%.
Sure, but that
and
doesn't mean
therefore-
But you could have an MDE of 1%.
You
if you
could,
want, couldn't you?
You
So
could.
so therefore C is
but
wrong.
1% is, for the most part, not large enough to really move the needle for a lot of organizations. So you want about 2% so that you can actually observe an effect that's meaningful. Anything larger than 5% tends not to be realistic, tends to be an exaggerated lift based on a not properly powered test.
I think ideal is the key word here with the
Yeah, yeah.
question.
it's just
And
the
we're-
wording.
yeah.
It's just like if you look at it like a statistical actual equation, like MDE is a variable not entered, it's found, it's solved for. So whatever, that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't need to
And
argue.
Ronnie has his experiences all at very big organizations. So
Right.
if you are a smaller organization, you will often have to run tests with larger MDEs than that, and
Smaller
you have
samples.
you have to accept that you cannot be as confident as maybe other companies can.
Mhm.
So again,
Totally.
like what's the ideal MDE? It depends who you are. It depends on the sample
what's-
size. It depends
My
on
answer was A for science, C for marketing, literally. And I was like, well, I have to pick one, so I'm going science. Like, but C for look, I get this, right? You can go pontificate the meaning of life and think about the connection of the universe, and it doesn't matter because money exists. So at the end of the day, if you're running marketing experiments, more than likely between 2 to 5%, that's where you're going to be your sweet spot. But that doesn't mean that it's ideal. That just means that that's what you have to do. Like it's different. Ideal is meaning the best. The best is off the math. The math says MDE is off sample size. So like the problem I'm having is with the definition of the word ideal, and that's on me. So whatever, I'll let that go.
Okay.
But to summarize, we're right and you're wrong.
There you go. That's the right answer, Johnny. You just won the game. Okay, but the problem, I think, is, Anthony, if I'm not incorrect, we still have a tie. Is that right?
You still have a tie.
We still have a tie. So we're going to
well,
have
Johnny
to...
wins. I'll defer to Johnny. Johnny wins.
I think we're going to have to do a tiebreaker here. So I'm going to find a test very quickly on Guess the Test where you're going to have to guess which version you think won. This is a 50-50, there's no really clear answer to it. So I think this satisfies your criteria, Shawn.
And I think I do have to hop off here for another call,
Right,
which is between those two anyway. So I can see you guys later, but thanks for having
Ryan,
me on.
thank you so much. It was great to have you as a contestant. We really appreciate it.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Have a good one.
All right, so I've just pulled this up really quickly. This is actually another Optimizely test. Very simply, get started versus watch a demo. They wanted to know which was going to increase click-through rate on the CTA, get started, watch a demo. It was all traffic to, now this is important, to this specific product page. So they wanted to see on this product page in particular, which wording would win. And it was experimenters for its Orchestrate platform. Now,
it's like the CMS, is it? Or
yeah,
what's the product?
Yeah, I believe it's a CMS. It lets you do content
I don't know what
management.
Orchestrate is, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's
both type the answer at the same time.
Sure.
Okay. Or watch a demo.
So get started or watch a demo.
Ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
Hang on. Which one's which? Is watch a demo?
I'd say watch the demos B. Yeah.
Yeah. Watch a demo is B.
Right.
Linda's saying that was less committal.
Right.
Shawn is saying A, Johnny is saying B. One of you are
One
right.
of us is gonna win.
One of you is right, and one
Finally,
of you
we've selected a different answer.
All right.
We'll take home the prize. So Linda's saying B, 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 B. So let's guess on version B. And let's see which version wins. It's B. Well
Who gets
done.
version B?
Well done.
Johnny, I told you I deferred to
Johnny.
Johnny.
So Johnny, you are officially our winner. Congratulations. And it was version B. There's a whole write-up here with results and a rationale if you want to look into it.
I've actually done very similar testing for SaaS companies, and my reasoning, which I don't know is the right reasoning, but is if it's a complicated product, then getting started is a really involved thing. You're like, oh, I'm going to end up in this CMS, and I'm going to,
Right.
Whereas like we're just watching a demo is much easier.
Hands off.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I had no idea, so I went with A because I just guessed.
Very nice.
Whether you get the right answer or the wrong answer, what this shows is it's really important to test these kinds of key CTAs. And it's a very easy test to run as well. Anyone can do it. So well done, Johnny. That makes you our winner, which is a very noble thing. You should feel very proud of yourself. You pull ahead with 35 points in the clear distance, winning. Shawn, you're a little bit behind at 25 and Ryan at 20. So well done to all three of you. And as our prize winner, you get two amazing, amazing prizes. Actually, one of them is from Shawn. And so as long as he doesn't hold any grudges, he's going to be giving you
Of course.
a level 1 certification, which is valued at $500, and it's an Automate to Win certification. So Shawn, do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So basically it's a 40-hour course that allows you to think basically like me. So you'll be able to go through, do process optimization, be able to do workflow automation, be able to identify bottlenecks and then remove them using no-code, low-code. So it's if you put the work in, it's basically like you'll be able to hire me.
Beautiful.
Amazing.
Okay.
And from me, you're going to get a complimentary group pro membership. So that enables you to get access to everything on Guess the Test, everything unlocked that's currently behind the paywall. You're going to get access to for yourself and up to 2 team members. If you want to add Journey further team members, you're welcome. And I can collect those details from you after. But you're going to be able to mine the Guess the Test database and see which test wins and which don't, and read the write-ups and get test ideas and inspiration. So congrats on that. That's a big prize.
Great.
And for all our contestants, as a bonus prize, everybody, I'm going to be sending you a free box of my homemade delicious fudge. And you can choose a flavor and I will make it for you and send it to you.
Hey.
And I know Shawn has had it before and
I have.
enjoyed it. So
Very delicious.
that is a bonus prize for all 3 contestants, the consolation prize. Audience, thank you so much for tuning in and for joining. We'd love to have some feedback for you. Fudge for the audience, Gabriella is saying. Gabriella, maybe you should be a contestant and then you can get some fudge. And we're looking for contestants for our February show, which is going to be on February 22nd at 11 a.m. So the way that we have it planned is the winner from this show is going to get to be the Spotlight Showcase contestant on the next show. And then Johnny, you'd be going up against 2 new contestants. So we'll gladly welcome you, Gabriella, if you'd like to join, or anybody else who would like to join, just send me a message on LinkedIn and we'll get you set up. Shawn and Johnny, thank you so much for taking the time to join today and for guessing the tests and going at it with gumption and grit. You did an amazing job. And Anthony, awesome co-host. Do you want to have the last word?
I'm good, man. I think you did a really great job. As she said, next game show is end of February. So again, if you guys want to join, just reach out to myself or to Deborah and we'll get you guys set up. I think this was a great first round, a great first game, and I can't wait to do this more. This is a lot of fun.
All right, fantastic. And Linda said this is the funnest webinar she's ever attended. So that's amazing feedback. Thank you so much. Really great to have all of you here today, and we'll look forward to seeing you at the next one.
All right, guys.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.